If you think that, oh, you need better habits, it's not necessarily that you could say you need better habits. It's really more so you need better standards. A lot of times when we talk about better standards, we talk about better standards for the essence of like, these are my standards when it comes to seeking in a person. We talk about these standards, but we don't talk about the standards with ourselves. And oftentimes the new standards is mimicked or hidden under habits. And we think, if I can just adopt better habits, I will be on my way to point B. Or if I can stop, breaking promises to myself, then that would be great. But oftentimes that doesn't happen. It's not necessarily that we need better habits, it's actually that we need better standards. And the better standards kind of correlate with who we are than strategy. Your personality is going to be the 99% that will be consistent in the actions that you take in your life. And why does this matter? I recently came across a breakthrough or a mind shift, if you could say. And it was this point where I had placed a commitment with myself. I had a boundary with myself, and I did not respect that boundary. And so it came to two choices. It came to complete the task and then overlap to the rest of tomorrow's schedule, or respect what you did not do, let it go, and then come back to it another day, or schedule it or time block it another day. And in that moment, I realized I was really up against the wall, if you could say. I was up against of this instinctive of not feeling that I was progressing, not taking action. The boundaries that you set with yourself often reinforce the person who you're becoming. It is the actions that you do reflect on who you say. So when you want to start building boundaries or setting boundaries with yourself, it really is looking to yourself and really asking yourself these questions that I've asked myself, these questions of, if I am going to be this person and I decide to be this person, what are the choices and how does she act and who will she be? And if that is in the future and that's point B, then where I'm at right now, which is point A, what is the issue here? What's going on? Because if I continue to break boundaries or self-trust with myself, then it would just be an ongoing repeating pattern. And so it comes to this realization of like, okay, you say, let's have hard conversations. What would that hard conversation entail? It would actually really entail, how would you have desired to show up differently? It's easier, that I've learned, it's easier to talk about boundaries or better standards in a relationship or in a workforce, but it's like, if you actually take the courage to talk about the hard truth with yourself, what ends up happening is that you overcome like 99% of what others can't do, which is have that hard conversation. And when you have that hard conversation, you enter into this new level of awareness that says, dang it, I failed there, or I was short. When you have those hard truths or those hard conversations, it is not associating your identity to the behavior or the habit. That's what ends up happening. That's what makes this distinction between I keep falling short, or I'm failing at this, or I am not this and I am not that. Whatever you associate the I or the I am or it's mine in a negative way, you will start to embrace that. And so that will be negative. And so that's why I think so many stray away from hard conversations. I've learned to have these hard conversations because it's like, if you don't have a hard conversation with yourself, others will definitely have a hard conversation with you or be much harsher on you than they have to be. But here is the thing. What if I told you having those hard conversations will actually yield results? Because they will. Because now it would be this level of awareness. And I don't know if you've heard of this saying. It says, this saying, obviously it's more like a financial thing, but it's the saying of, if you can't measure it, then you can't manage it. And it's almost in the same aspect of, if you're not aware of it, how can you change it? And whatever room you walk in, the way you present yourself speaks loud. So you don't have to really say much word, it is how you walk. How you walk, or the confidence that you bring in the room, will also allow me to see this person trusts themselves. This person has competency with themselves. Why does this matter in setting boundaries with yourself? This matters because you haven't broken your trust with yourself. You know that when you walk into a room, you can show up, and if no one shows up for you, you will show up for you. And that's often discarded when we don't have that self-trust with ourselves. And I always like to say this. I always like to say behavior comes from unspoken language. So the unspoken language would mean, I showed up when no one sees you, when no one's looking at you, what are you doing? And I think this also falls into this saying of like, be careful how you speak to yourself because you are listening. That although no one is seeing what you're doing, do you know that you're aware that you're putting in the work, or you're not? What you do when no one sees will be seen when you walk into a room, and then everyone will see and pick up on that energy. And so it's like, it really comes, it's like the boundary setting with yourself would entail, I have done the work. Because you've done the work, and because also you've shown up for yourself, even when it's been messy, you walk into the room and your behavior reflects that you've done just that. If you want to create boundaries with yourself, and maybe in the past you have broken those boundaries with yourself, if that happens, and if that is you, this is how you can start to rebuild that self-trust. Number one, become aware of what you are doing. If, back to the saying, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. If you're not aware of it, how can you change it? Number two, what are the small actions that we can take? Because this deals with your identity. This deals with who you are, and if that is consistent with who you want to become. So start small. And I have to say this, although it's so point clear blank, oftentimes the small things can be ridiculous. Small things can be like, this is it. And the small things can make you think, I have to do more and more. And it's like, no, just do one small thing. And if you're consistent with it, repeat it again. Because humans by nature are very like intelligent, I'm pretty sure you're intelligent if you're watching this video, is that small thing compounds. And I know it's easier said than done, just like when you start investing, it's the small compounds. But the small habit, although simple, it compounds. And it will start to rebuild your self-trust. Now here's a tweak. What happens if I break that self-trust? Because God knows there have been times in my life where I said I was going to do the thing, I become aware of it, and I think, okay, what did I do that did not lead to me not completing the thing? Don't attach an identity when you fall short of what you wish you could have done, because then that just brings your state down, and then that just shames you. Then you attach a negative identity to yourself because you had said that you were going to do the thing, but you didn't do the thing. Number one, become aware of what you're doing. If you're not aware, you can't change it. Number two, make it simple and compound. If you can be consistent with just one small action, no matter if it's ridiculous, quotation marks, I don't like to call it ridiculous. If you want to call it ridiculous, by all means. If you can be consistent with just that one thing, proceed. But number three, when you fall short, and when you fail, because I have failed too, you're gonna have this honest conversation with yourself, and you're gonna think, okay, strategically, what happened that led me to not executing, or what did I do that did not lead me to inputting that result? What is one small thing that you can do that will change how you show up, or that will be in progression to who you want to become? You don't know who you're becoming, then you can look at your action steps right now. You know, people always plan like who I am, who are you going to be in 5 years, and etc. Who you are right now is based on what you did in the past, and so it's moving from the past, the present, and the future. And if you have a vision set forth of who you want to become, then you can use the exact same steps or the process that you did in the past. That's just in the past, and perhaps you don't even remember it. But what you can do is look to the future and set that vision that says, if my vision is that, then what does not correlate and what does? So that being, what is one small thing, one achievable and non-negotiable action that you can implement that will be in progress to your vision, to your future? Anyways, guys, that is it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, I am doing these steps as well. This is where it's coming from. If I have breaking any boundaries, self-trust with myself, we're putting in the work. Anyways, guys, that is it for this video. I'll see you guys in my next one. Double dab and good and bad.